everyone. Welcome to Forum Friday. On Forum Fridays, I asked Mark to join us. Hi, Mark.
Hi, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. What's going on at the forums?
It's been a little bit quiet this week in the forum. We have one question that was posted looking for some guidance on improving shelf life for French macarons to sell them right from the fridge. Macaron being very high sugar and stuff, I think that the only challenge there might be if it might start to stale after a while, because you would easily get 7 to 10 days in a fridge. So perhaps powdered monodiglycerides mixed in with the almonds and the sugar might be the only thing I could think of off the top of my head that might help there to trap some of that moisture and keep them soft longer. That's about it, right?
Right.
But other than that, I mean, we had a very active and successful seminar on gluten-free yesterday, and a lot of discussion around pizza and questions, as far as processing pizza commercially.
We had so many questions that we couldn't finish answering yesterday. And I just wanted to point that out to a lot of people out there. That's why this field is so hot in baking right now. The questions, we just can't keep up. And a lot of those questions are questions concerning processing.
Mm-hmm.
Because while it's easy to benchtop formulate gluten-free products, it's very difficult to commercialize it.
A lot of times it is.
Right. One of the questions were, how do I keep it from, sticking? I'm afraid to deal with my gluten-free formula right now because I'm just afraid that it's going to start sticking if I use anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any suggestions there, Mark?
Well, I'm working with great suppliers like Arla can really help with that, because the formulas that Arla is developing they're developing them with the commercial processing in mind. And so, ensure that you're not using too much, or preferably not using any gums.
That's key.
Where a lot of the issues are, because then you put too much gums in, it starts to dry the product up and it becomes very chewy and rubbery. And then if you have a lower level of gums,
it gives that really slimy mouthfeel too.
Yep. And then with the lower level, that's what makes the dough so sticky in the processing. Because especially gums like xanthan gum, they start to release under shear, so then that gives you that stickiness, right? And like I said, working with Arla, because their whey protein concentrate does a fabulous job of gelling in the dough and give you really good textural processing properties, and have a little bit of oil in the dough. It's going to help for mouthfeel as well.
We forgot about that. Oil is a huge.
It really helps to have a little bit in there for the processing too. Yeah.
Right. And I just think that people are so used to using just xanthan gum, right? Xanthan gum as a texturizer, as a thickener, that they forget that there are other options like whey proteins, that they can look into. Other things are like psyllium fiber. It's very, very successful. I've seen a lot of successful psyllium fiber usage, but it does contribute a little bit to the color. This is where whey proteins come in superior, because it doesn't contribute anything negative to the color. But I like to use whey protein as actually an emulsifier and texturizer, because I think that it helps with the chew of the product. And that's one of the biggest concern whenever someone comes to me for gluten-free consulting, is that dual texture. How do you have the crunch and the pull of a wheat-based product? And that is the most challenging thing about gluten-free pizza. Is either you have the crunch or you have the pull, not both, not both properties, And then on top of it, you have to have it processed without sticking, So it's a whole bunch of problems altogether.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well, it's not like gluten's important or anything, right?
no, it's not. But
But
you'll
yeah, they
be
just
surprised. You'll be surprised that everybody now is asking for a gluten-free item on the menu, right? If it's not the home baker, it's the hotel, it's the
hmm
burger chain, it's the pizza chain, it's the ice cream chain. Whatever it is, everybody's all of a sudden have to have this gluten-free product.
Yep.
And one of the biggest things that people ask most of the time is, can I use SSL and datum as emulsifiers? And what do you think, Mark?
Um, Very different emulsifiers when it comes to gluten forming properties versus something that is gluten free, because the type of proteins that the way they're formed in terms of the amino acid structure and stuff is that gluten proteins are a beta sheet protein, so they're sort of lamellar, and that way SSL can and datums and stuff, they can interact directly with the protein to give you that pull, that structure, that extensibility, these types of things. Whereas the types of proteins we're dealing with plant proteins or whey protein and so on, they're structured very differently. They look like coils, and so there's going to be no interaction there. So if it's about trying to help get better hydration and holding on to moisture and reducing staling, monodiglycerides is probably going to be better. It's going to be probably the best option, or powdered lecithin works very well as well,
Yeah.
like sunflower lecithin or things like that.
Right. And I do recommend the use of these emulsifiers if you are having a lot of sticky issues at the sheeter.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to really help. I believe whey might help as well, so you might look into that if you're not a dairy-free or vegan facility.
Mm-hmm.
Look into whey. It's a very cost-effective way of a processing, kind of like a processing aid to make things non-sticky.
Yep.
Yeah,
it definitely helps a lot. Yep.
So you did a lot of baking for us yesterday. Can you share the challenges of baking the different products you made?
Well, the nice thing is that with using the Arla whey protein concentrate in the formulas was relatively few challenges and more ease of use more than anything else. I did a gluten-free pizza dough following the Arla recipe and method, which worked out really well. It handled just like a dough. But I also made some sugar cookies, and
those were amazing.
Yeah, I simply took a standard American Association of Cereal Chemists test formula that is usually used to test soft wheat flours, and I removed the soft wheat flour and replaced it based on the protein level with the Arla whey protein concentrate, and with that potato starch and gluten-free masa flour. And it made a beautiful cookie. It's wonderful gluten-free cookie that way. The whey gels up just perfectly in the dough, so that if we were to use xanthan gum or something like that, it would get too tight, too rubbery, or it would get very sticky. The dough was very easy to handle and to work with. Was really, really great. And I also did a similar along those lines. I did a muffin formula. There, I probably I should have increased the ratio of potato starch to masa flour. The masa, because it also gels a little bit. And so then I had a little bit too much gelling going on, but otherwise the texture was really good. Internal crumb structure was very nice. I made a really beautiful tasting muffin. And the thing I noticed, especially in the sweet goods, I think part of it also is that or in the formulas I tested, I used the whey protein concentrate at maybe a slightly higher level than in the pizza. and it provides a really nice milky flavor. A really, not prominent, but it's really nice and rich and full. Sort of almost creamy in a way, and I really like that about it. And that is often one of the challenges with other protein sources, is that sometimes there's other flavors that come in that have to be masked or taken into consideration. Like bean powders, like a navy bean powder is fairly neutral, but then it still tastes kind of beany afterwards. Right?
Yeah.
And so this works really nice together with that, and probably would help cover up that kind of flavor. So it's really nice, rich flavor. And like I said in the seminar, I mean, the culinary students that I had the opportunity to kind of say, hey, or try some treats, is they just couldn't believe it was gluten-free, right? I mean, it was, they just said it was just so good. That was all the response I got. Oh, it's so good, chef.
I wish I had that kind of effect in students. But I wanted to point out something else too I have here, if you don't mind. I just received chia
yes,
powder that you can actually use in gluten-free as well. But these are so beneficial in keto recipes, right? So we had them on Thought Leadership Thursday yesterday, and I was eating a cake.
Nice.
And I believe they sent you the same thing.
Yes, I love the cake. Yep.
What did you think?
I really like the cake. It looks a little dense at first, but I find it's really nice and flavorful, and it's
very
tender.
flavorful.
I really like that. I really like the cake a lot.
Yeah, I just want to show people.
Yeah, I received a sample of ingredients from them as well, and I'm looking forward to making some products for their Break Your In video.
And one slice of this has about 17 grams of fiber.
Wow.
That's half your daily fiber already in one slice of chia muffin.
There you go. It's a perfect breakfast.
Right. So check out Banexia on BAKERpedia's pages. And sorry, I'm talking. If you need any chia baking mix for your product development endeavors, please contact them.
Yes,
so
great to work with. Yeah.
And maybe one of these days, Mark will do a song and dance with Banexia flowers, and then voila, we'll get new gluten-free flavors.
I'll have to get some tips from Oprah and improve my dance moves.
You were pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. Well, does it mean that I have to dance now?
Your turn.
Well, Gideon's going first.
Gideon.
Okay, Mark, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you baking all those goodies yesterday and teaching our attendees how to bake gluten-free.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
See you next week.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.